How's it going, everyone? This video is about how politics now, seemingly more than ever, won't you agree, is just absolutely destroying relationships, and a nuanced view of how people more than ever are almost losing their identity. It's like they're losing their identity and being consumed and dissolved into their candidate. I'm gonna give you guys a story that I just went through this morning, which is pretty heartbreaking. But first, if you're new, like and subscribe. If you're old, hi, how's it going? I see you. 3, we're in the middle of California, in the Southern California in the fall, which is pretty nightmarish. And if you make it to the end of the video, I'll show you what a wildfire looks like as it creeps over the mountain and towards your house, because that's what we're dealing with right now. So let's see if we can get this video out before they shut the power off. All right, here we go. My girls had this friend for at least a decade, and they went through a lot together. They went through a lot. My girl's roommate slash best friend for a few years passed away from cancer. She's all, let the people know. She says, share the message because the hate is ridiculous. So she was her roommate, and she died. She died of cancer super suddenly too. It was pretty heartbreaking. And so she had a bunch of sisters. My girl was friends with the sisters. They went to the funeral. They went through, even before the funeral, they all hung out. It was just, they bonded hard for a long time. And this morning my girl posted, and she's not even pro-Trump. She just posted something. Her friend says, hey, I didn't know you were a Trump supporter. Nice and cordial. My girl says, if I'm being honest, Trump seems like the better candidate. If I'm being completely honest, I don't really support either one of them because they both seem sort of like who trusts the 1% of politics. I mean, I thought this was common stance, but I guess it's not. I digress. Her friend removes her from Facebook, blocks her from social media, so she can't even look up her page, and blocked her from her cell phone. And so you had a perfectly healthy relationship that was destroyed over nothing. Was destroyed over nothing. And the thing that's sad is people are turning to social media, they're turning to online forums to lose friendships. Maybe it's social media now. I feel like there's always been divide during this time of year, but I've never seen it this prevalent. I've never seen people so deeply dissolve. I've never seen people with their ego so deeply dissolved into their candidate. For someone who doesn't care about them, realistically, let's be real here. They're politicians. They're the 1% elite politicians. I thought we knew this. Maybe we forgot. This is what it looks like. It's like sports. If you guys follow sports, then you'll be right here with me. People identify with their sports teams deeply. You know what I mean? Like the Dodger World Series just happened, and there are fights. People shoot each other and unalive each other over sports rivalries for teams who could care less about the fan. The wild thing is, the winning player could be traded the next season and the fans don't care because it's not even about the people. It's about identifying with this intangible thing. They lose themselves. They lose their identity, it seems like, to these things, and they become these things. It's like you support my team or you're the enemy. Now, you guys are all spiritual folk and you practice this sort of as above, so below, there's corresponding elements. Now, you correspond the team mentality as your sports team to a political candidate. And there is a phenomena in the spiritual realm that we study that is like, if we are incapable of existing in the world but not becoming the world, like that phrase we like to use, be in the world but not of the world, it means you can exist in the world and see things as they are objectively without putting too much attach on them. You can put attachments on them like, oh, I love my woman, I love my man, I love pizza, I love sushi, I love sunsets. Like we can let ourselves be dissolved into beautiful moments, but we can't let ourselves be dissolved into terrible ones. Identity politics and my team is better than yours, and you either support my team or you're the enemy. And if supporting these people with this much of your soul jeopardizes your integrity, your values, because at the end of the day, we all have the same exact values. It's to love and to be loved, to grow old with our loved ones, to spend as much time as possible with our children, to not spend a fortune at the grocery store, and to pray that our leaders make sure that greedy corporations don't poison us into the grave. It is super windy. So may I digress? We experience what are called the Santa Ana winds in Southern California, at least if you live along the coast. Normally our wind comes from the ocean inland, from the Pacific Ocean. This time of year it switches and the wind comes from inland. And even though it's getting colder, sometimes we can experience temperatures in like the 80s, sometimes even the 90s. We get what do you call it when it gets really hot? Heat waves, because we get the Santa Ana winds. The Santa Ana is the origin of these winds, and it's warm there, so the winds are warm despite being the time of year. Anywho, we're getting like 60, 70 mile an hour gusts. I'll show you the fire in a second because it's coming down over the mountain. You might see on the news, depending upon how big it gets. One of my really good family friends lost his home just before starting this video. Oh my God. He lost his home and everything inside of it. It was actually pretty heartbreaking. I forgot about it until now. So, oh man. Anywho, we're not only losing relationships. Honestly, I think the most important thing that we're learning right now, and I'm trying so hard to practice this when I talk to people, especially online, is the ability to have nuanced conversations. We've talked about this before on this channel. Democrats and Republicans, at least in America. One side is all about the individual, the other side is all about communal thinking. It's like left brain, right brain. The irony that our politics is split the same way our brain is noteworthy. It's a beautiful analogy between the two, because it speaks so much, and we can understand each other so much. Someone on the right values the individual, someone on the left values the community, and somewhere in the middle of those two things is truth. Somewhere in the middle of those two things is where we want to be making all our decisions at. And we can't come in the middle of those two things if we don't have the ability to have a nuanced conversation. Because the conversation now is, I can't believe you support that candidate. I'm never speaking to you again. And vice versa for the other side. And it sucks. That means we can't have conversations anymore. And what I mean by nuanced conversation is someone saying, this has been my experience of the world, and I don't know what to do to fix it. These are my struggles. These are what I think will fix it. What do you think? And you go, I hear you, I understand you, I go through the same thing. Your solution isn't better than mine, I don't think, because here's what I've learned about the world. And so I'll share with you my experience of the world and why I don't think your way is going to work for me. Or maybe there's nuanced conversation means not throwing the baby out with the bathwater sort of thing. You know what I mean? Here's an example. Here's an example of a nuanced conversation. One person goes, hey, corporations are ridiculous. They're destroying the environment. We need to shut them down. We need more regulations. Our forests are burning to the ground. Our water supply is poisoned. We have extinction like we've never seen it. No one cares. These corporations do whatever the hell they want. We need it to stop. We need to stop now. That's point A. Point B goes, this is what a nuanced conversation sounds like. This person B goes, I hear you. Sincerely, I hear you. The environment is going to hell. I share those same worries and concerns. I have plants and we haven't had any rain because of climate change or whatever. So I'm experiencing what you're experiencing. But I don't believe, I believe there's too much regulation in that, I'm a small business and I can't afford to compete with a company like Amazon because I don't have that kind of capital. So I'm being destroyed by over-regulation because in my personal nuanced situation, I'm not polluting like Amazon is. So maybe I don't need the same regulations that Amazon has, right? And then person C, right? The conversation evolves where they go, you know what? You're right. That makes sense. Judging a mom and pop shop with the same regulations that you judge Amazon with isn't fair. They're two completely different entities. For example, Amazon didn't have to close during the schmandemic, but mom and pop shops did. So mom and pop shops went out, the middle class got more destroyed than it already was, and Amazon had record-breaking years for the past, ever since. So is it fair that this is a nuanced conversation. It's a conversation that doesn't say you're right and I'm wrong. It says, let me hear your ideas, I'm going to share mine, and let's come to a middle ground in between the two where we can reconcile both the individual and the communal, which is what our politics don't do, which is why I'm so outspoken about this topic specifically, is because our country is divided between communal thinking and between individualistic thinking. And it is beyond me that humanity can't go, look, why don't we have a conversation about every circumstance and allow the nuances, and to say, hey, There is a certain amount of individualistic approach we need to do this, and there's a certain amount of holistic approach that we need to do with this. Can we choose connection over division? Can we choose love over politics? Can we choose both intuitive and logical thought? Can we participate? Can we participate in nuanced conversations? Can we listen to people without already having the answer in our heads? Can we understand one another, that we all want the same thing, which is to be happy, which is to be able to spend time with our families, to love our children, and to grow old with our loved ones? Can we acknowledge that we have far more in common than we don't? I don't know what it is. Like, what do you guys think? Someone let me know. Why does it feel like there's more divisiveness? Is that a word? Did I just make that up? It seems like there's more divisiveness now than there has been in previous elections, and I don't know why. I haven't figured out why. I can postulate with some certainty that it's supposed to be this way, that they'd rather have you and I fighting each other instead of you and I fighting them. If I was an evil person, I would have you fighting your neighbor all day long over you and your neighbor fighting me. I would be doing everything I could, everything in my power I would be doing to make sure that your energy was on bickering with your neighbors and not understanding that you have more in common with your neighbor than you do me, which is the 1% elite. You have more in common with the person you hate because who they voted for than the person you voted for. And that's a fact. You and I have more in common with each other, regardless of where we stand on the scale of politics, than either one of us have with either one of the candidates. Those people are reptilian as far as I'm concerned. None of them are anywhere close to having the similarities, the qualities of life, the qualities of experience that you and I have with each other, regardless of where we are on the political fence. And they don't want you to know that. They want you to fight with each other. And by golly, it's working so well. It's working so well. Makes me so sad. Remember, friends, that the greatest strength is not in the battles that we fight, but in the bonds that we choose to protect. I hope that we all choose to protect the bonds we have with our fellow men, women, and be in the world, not of it. I love you. If you made it this far, like the video, please. It really helps boost us. Thank you for the support. Thank you for all the comments letting me know to keep making videos every day. I swear to God, every comment I get that says, Keith, please post more videos, a fairy gets its wings somewhere. So I love you. Thank you. I'll see you guys soon, okay? I'll see you tomorrow. Wait, I forgot. I got to show you guys the fire. I'm going to go up on my roof. There's the fire. It's pretty wild. And the smoke is all blowing to the ocean. I was in the smoke this morning. You can't even breathe. Welcome to California.